With two simultaneous Dusty Cup tournaments taking place, there's a lot of tag team techers on the black and gold this week. And as it happens, it's the week that we discover the one tag team in WWE that simply does not get along. This is NXT Graded. Opening with men's Dusty Cup action, it's Drake and Killian Dain taking on MSK. Drake now dresses like Dain in jeans. It's adorable. He's running around him like an excited dog at the start of the match. Some good tag team work and a Bronco Buster by Carter early on. Nice little nod to X-Pac. It's putting MSK in charge. Dain tags and uses Drake as a projectile to put them back in control. MSK able to briefly overpower Dain, but not for very long. We see Dain back on the offense pretty quickly as we go to break and as we come back from the break as well. Wesley absorbs a lot of battering from Dain and Drake until he flips out of a move from Drake, makes the tag to Carter. Carter lights the place up. They hit that combo pushing shooting star press they did on Impact. Mwah! A chef's kiss? So soon? You are spoiling us. Dain breaks the cover, however MSK rally and they land a blockbuster heart attack for the 1-2-3 on Drake. And just like that, MSK head on to the next round of the Dusty Cup. Giving this a B, fun match to get us started. MSK looking great in the process as well. And I like how Drake and Dain became sort of de facto heels here. There was some heelish tendencies that I think kind of suited them. A sit-down chat with Curt Stallion takes place now with Mackenzie Mitchell. He talks about how he'd take 19-hour car trips, would be looking up at the sky, and he'd see a lone star in the sky. And he went, that's it. I'm Curt, the Lone Star Stallion. He's going to use the Cruiserweight Championship as a rocket that he's going to strap to his back to make the Lone Star a superstar. Or words to that effect. Stallion has a Cruiserweight Championship match later on, and this was an alright, slightly cliched sit-down chat to put a little bit of meat on the character bones of Curt Stallion. Back in the ring, we have women's Dusty Cup action. It's Aliyah and Jessi Kamea, Robert Stone in their corner, taking on Dakota Kai and Raquel González. The mighty González, dominant early on, overpowering Aliyah and Kamea. We see Kamea get a cheeky bit in on González. There's a tag to Kai. Kai gets a beat in as well. Some crisp offense from Kai on the comeback trail here, though. Attempting a dive, but González pulling Kai out of the line of fire and landing a big old kick in return. Aliyah gets beaten down by Kai for a while. González gets some nice double team stuff in with Kai as well, including a lovely lifting double stomp, which was pretty cool. Aliyah makes a hot tag from a DDT. Here comes Jessi Kamea like a house of fire. Boom! Wiped out immediately by a lariat from González. Powerbomb moments later. 1, 2, 3. And Dakota Kai and Raquel González are into the next round of the Women's Dusty Cup. This was a C+. Fine match. Well paced. Just two heel teams. Again, what is it with heel tag teams facing heel tag teams? So it's difficult to really get behind anybody in this one, except Raquel González, who's a beast. But it was fine. It wasn't flawed. It was fine. The Way are backstage, celebrating their success. Mackenzie references Kushida pinning Johnny Gargano multiple times, and Gargano leaves the interview. It turns out that we're not saying his name anymore. He's basically, as far as Johnny Gargano's concerned, he is the Voldemort of NXT. We're not saying his name. They end up leaving the interview shortly after this. And Dexter Lumis appears behind the curtain, stalking the Way. More on that later. Scarlett is somewhere else. We get a video from her doing tarot cards while speaking tongues, saying things like, foolishness tempts the course of fate. The Hierophant elevates the followers. And stay on your journey, or he will alter his fallen prey. So some cards are being put down. I think I know where this is going. We'll talk about it in a little bit. And then back in the ring, we have Tyler Rust taking on Dante Rios. We get a picture-in-picture as this match gets underway of Malcolm Bivens saying that the loss last week for Tyler Rust doesn't change anything. He's still very much a diamond in the rust. It's a great line, that is. We get Rios with some swings of offense halfway through this matchup. Even gets a roll up in, lands a tilt-a-whirl into a guillotine choke, which is a lovely move. However, this is Tyler Rust's night. So as Rios comes off the top, he ends up getting a European uppercut. Boom, one of them from Tyler Rust. Shortly after this, he hits a rolling dirty deeds onto Rios and then puts in like a modified Rings of Saturn stretch with all the legs involved as well, which is a good little move. Gets a tap out from Rios. Tyler Rust looks strong. C+ here. It was a showcase match for Tyler Rust, but Rios got a little bit in there as well, which was good to see. The Grizzled Young Veterans are in Dusty Cup action. They are taking on Kushida and Leon Ruff. Before the match, Zach Gibson's on the mic, and he says, soon the Dusty Cup will say on it, the Grizzled Young Veterans, soon to be recognized as Dusty Cup winners. Why would you put "we might win" on the cup that you've allegedly won? GYV's experience puts them in charge on this one. We see Gibson and Drake landing some nice early stuff. Ruff getting a sly tag to Kushida to help turn the tide a little bit here. Beauty of a springboard Hurricane Rana when Ruff gets back into the ring, as well as a Brett's rope cutter, which is a move that Ruff is busting out more often than not, which I'm very, very happy to see. GYV, however, end up shutting down Ruff after the break. They stop him from making the tag and wear him down from there. Kushida eventually gets cut down by Zach Gibson. They hit a Doomsday device for a near fall. He fights out of a ticket to Mayhem to get the tag to Ruff, who hits a beautiful series of dives. However, as he goes up top to hopefully finish the match off, Drake pushes him to the floor, allowing Gibson to grab him moments later, and he and Drake hit the ticket to Mayhem for the 1, 2, 3. They've punched their ticket to the next round of the Dusty Cup, have the Grizzled Young Veterans. After the match, Gargano and Austin Theory hit the ring to attack Kushida and Leon Ruff. Theory outside the ring is holding Leon Ruff so he can watch Gargano beat down on Kushida. And then from behind Theory in the crowd appears Dexter Lumis, looking all creepy. This freaks out the way, and away they go. B+ for this whole thing. Some great energy in this matchup. Felt a little bit similar to the tag match we saw in the first part of the night, the first Dusty Cup match in terms of the pacing and stuff. So it became a bit predictable, but they all worked very well together. Kurt Stallion is on the floor backstage, not dancing like he's hurt. And William Regal and the medical officers are there, and he says that it was Legado that attacked him. Regal storms off to see what the crack is. After the break, he bursts into the locker room of Legado del Fantasma where they're mid-interview, and he tells them that next week the Cruiserweight Championship is on the line between Santos Escobar and Kurt Stallion. It's cancelled tonight. It's happening next week. And if there is any reason Kurt Stallion can't make it to the match, there will be consequences. Regal storms out, and Santos Escobar spots a tarot card underneath his Cruiserweight Championship. And he's shaking, saying, the end is near, the end is near. And then they laugh and say, the end is near. Happy hour ends at 10. Ha ha ha, what fun we're having. And they leave. So this looks like a card that may have been left by Karrion Kross. They alluded earlier on, did Scarlett, with the cards to going off the path and all that. Santos made some cheap digs at Karrion Kross the week before, so we've got a little side quest for Karrion Kross to batter Legado del Fantasma, which is different. Toni Storm comes out for a chat. She says she wanted to be the NXT UK Women's Champion. She took that title from Rhea Ripley. She wanted to be the Mae Young Classic winner, and she defeated Io Shirai to get that. And she wanted to be the first Women's Dusty Cup winner, and Io Shirai robbed her of that. So now she's going to take the NXT Women's Championship from her. Io Shirai storms to the ring, says, I'll fight you anywhere. I don't like you. They end up brawling, and Toni Storm is sent packing. Mercedes Martinez appears, jumps Io Shirai from behind. This brings Toni Storm back into the fold as Mercedes Martinez is holding the NXT Women's Championship. Toni Storm takes it off her. Oh, hang on. Malfunction here. They both want to be the champ. Here's Io Shirai with a springboard dropkick. takes them both out of the equation. We see Toni Storm dragging Mercedes Martinez out of the ring, saving her from an over the moonsault, only to drive her into the apron. Storm gets back in there, attacks Shirai, hits multiple hip attacks in the corner, and then holds up the championship. We've got ourselves more people vying for this championship right now. And the segment I'm going to give a B- to. Very basic, very effective. Toni Storm adding her name to the list of people who want a shot at Io Shirai. I feel like Shirai has had lots of people who want a match with her. Like, we've seen everybody, I think, squaring up to Shirai, but I don't think I've seen much in the way of title defenses from Shirai. So they're hedging their bets with who could have a shot at Shirai. I'm ready to see somebody actually have a feud and a shot at Io Shirai, you know? Isaiah Swerve Scott backstage makes some very pertinent points. He says that when Bronson Reed got in the way of him squabbling with Jake Atlas backstage, it was Swerve at fault. Yet last week, when Swerve got in the face of Bronson Reed, that was also Swerve's fault. He says that he can get a lay of the landscape of the place around here and asks Mackenzie to point a finger at him. And as she does, he says, yeah, pointed at me. How many fingers are pointing at you? I see what you did there, I think. Swerve is in action against Bronson Reed here. This is something that's been bubbling over for the last couple of weeks. Reed overpowers Swerve early on, throws him out of the ring, but Swerve lands on his feet. They end up fighting on the apron, and Bronson swipes the legs from under Swerve. He lands badly. I feel like he landed badly on his neck and shoulders. He seems all right. The match carried on, and Bronson Reed hit him with a beauty of a dive through the ropes not long afterwards. So I guess he's all right, but looked a bit dicey for a moment. Swerve drives Reed into the turnbuckle during the commercial break, so when we come back, Swerve is very much in control of the mighty Bronson Reed. Reed won't be denied though. He's pushing back into this one. He hits a gorgeous suplex into a Death Valley driver. That's a nice move. I like that times 10. He goes for a chokeslam, but his arm is still hurt from being driven into the turnbuckle, so therefore he can't capitalize completely on it. This gives Swerve an opening to lay down some arm bars and some arm ringers. He gets in Bronson Reed's face and says, this is Swerve's house. Starts slapping him round a bit. Reed responds with a headbutt, goes up top, tsunami splash. 1, 2, 3. Reed, just like that, has beat Isaiah Swerve Scott. This was a B. Swerve is really growing into this heel character, and I'm enjoying some of the layers here. Bronson Reed continues to be great. These two had a good back and forth. Not a great back and forth, but a good back and forth. Tommaso Ciampa is backstage. He says there are fights you win, fights you lose, and fights you remember. And then he's joined by Timothy Thatcher, who pulls up a chair and sits next to him. Thatcher says that out of anguish and struggle, respect grows, which is why he accepted Ciampa's offer to form a tag team in the Dusty Cup. At the beginning of the show tonight, we had footage of Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher from 205 Live, where they got through the first round of the Dusty Cup. So they're in the competition. They're facing the Undisputed Era next week. Ciampa jumps out of his chair, but not before telling the Undisputed Era there will be a war next week. And as Ciampa leaves, Thatcher stays sat there just staring ahead. Interesting team here. Interesting dynamic. I don't see them winning the Dusty Cup. I don't think. So I'm intrigued as to where they're going. Finally, another tag team that we didn't think would get along. Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor doubling up to face off against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Non-title match here. But earlier on in the night, they had a bit of a close interaction. Did Balor and O'Reilly, some intensity between the two. The story on commentary is Balor injuring his arm a while back and O'Reilly injuring his jaw. More emphasis on the jaw than anything else as we go into this one. Balor starting off well, some strong offense, an aggressive tag to O'Reilly, and then they start working over the jaw. A lot of shots towards the jaw of O'Reilly from Lorcan and Burch. They focus a lot of their energy onto that jaw. But Kyle's able to stay on top, manages to make a quick tag to Balor, who then hits some moves, tags to O'Reilly. We see some fast tags back and forth leading into the break. So O'Reilly and Balor working like a well-oiled machine against the Brit and Brawlers. During the break, O'Reilly and Balor are able to stay on top until Lorcan brings Balor down with an arm drag. Brit Ams then hit an old school double atomic drop. They get a near fall off of that, and they wear down on Balor until he lands a Pele kick and a sling blade, eventually making that hot tag to Kyle O'Reilly. Unleashes heck on everybody here. Burch tries to stop him with a drop kick off of the top rope, but as he hits the ground, O'Reilly catches him in a leg lock and gets the tap out dead quick, and that's the end of the match. Post-match, we see a little bit of respect between O'Reilly and Balor. They're staring each other down, and then O'Reilly points behind Balor, and Pete Dunne has appeared. And in the moment they realise that, the Britam Brawlers attack Kyle O'Reilly, and Dunne and Balor are going at it. In the ring, Oney and Danny grab Balor by the arms, and Pete Dunne breaks the fingers of Finn Balor. Undisputed Era make it out, rush to the ring, everybody takes a powder, and the closing shot we see is of the Britam Brawlers and Pete Dunne on the ramp, and then we've got Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor all stood in the ring. Balor in the middle of the Undisputed Era lot, kind of looking around and then stepping away. So we're building towards Balor and Dunne and some involvement with the Undisputed Era, it seems. Main event for me was a B. It was a decent enough main event, but nothing mind-blowing. There was quite a lot of tag team matches this week, and it's kind of, there's a bit burnt out on tag matches in this particular evening, I'm afraid. But some good stuff in there as well. Balor and Dunne's going to be good when we get there too. Overall this week, I'm giving NXT a B-. There was nothing on this show that was terrible. Like, there was some good stuff here. Some good performers, some great presentation. But there was something I couldn't put my finger on that I wasn't enjoying. And I realised that it is the tag team that simply will not get along in WWE. And that being the WWE and tag team booking. So many tag team matches in NXT have the same formula and how they build. And I know that tag team wrestling across the decades has had this issue, but with NXT, there's very much an NXT style, and there seems to be a template for tag team matches that when you put multiple tag team matches on the same show, it really sticks out, especially when they're very much okay tag team matches, not great ones, you know? And again, that whole thing of this, there was another heel and heel match that just didn't click somewhere in here as well. I really want these matches to shine, but I feel like the formula for all these matches has felt very similar. They're good matches, but we could do with something in these tag matches that make them stand out, make them sing a little bit more. And I think that brought the grade down a little bit. It wasn't a bad show. It was progressive. We moved forward with other things. Just a lot of the same tag stuff. Let's maybe mix that up if we possibly can. Stay safe. Love you, bye.